and several thoughts I'd like to share with us for starters. Maybe first and foremost, I'd like to make a correction of something that I was saying not so thoughtfully, again and again and again, marveling at the wives of the Kaliya serpent saying so many times, pure devotees, and pure devotees, and then there were a couple of objections that came up. Pure devotee. So a modification, they're devotees. They're elevated devotees. And they certainly had something that Prahlad Maharaj didn't have. He's a pure devotee. He didn't want anything. And when offered anything, he objected. Please don't ask me. Don't tempt me like that. His response. Between you and me, there's only one thing. I'm the servant, you're the master, whatever you want, that's it. But he was like, please don't ask me to take stuff. And guess what? Lord Shingadev said, take stuff. I need a successor. He didn't say I need. Now that Hiranyakashipu is dead, there's this kingdom and the rulership over his whole kingdom and his assets and his wealth and his power and his this and that. And I want you to take it. But I'll protect you. And how you'll be protected? By always remembering me, because that's what we heard yesterday, and that was of the 9 processes of bhakti, that's the process that Prahlad perfected. So unlike Prahlad, the wives of the Kaliya serpent, they had a very specific wish in their wish list. And it was about oneself, not about what Krishna wanted. So they're not pure devotees. Karma Mishra Bhaktas. Now, Karma Mishra Bhaktas are pretty much all of us, because we're not pure devotees. Most of us are not pure devotees. We're trying to be, but we have our wants. On the material side, besides the spiritual side, wanting is good. Wanting exclusive devotion to Krishna is good. That's a good want. So the idea of becoming desireless is not a Vaishnava view. Anyway, so they're devotees, but mixed. And you had the point, there sounds to me like they're Jnana Mishra Bhaktas. Now I'd like to hear from you right now. What's your understanding of I like a little simple definition. What's a Jnana Mishra Bhakta? What is one? What does it look like? Whoa.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. So Maharaj, some of the prayers of Nagapatni, I felt like some of the prayers resembled what we read from 3rd canto of Srimad Bhagavatam on Jnana Yoga. What Lord Kapila was explaining is for Jnana Yoga. So some of the elements were those in that prayer. So that's what I thought, it's more related to Jnana Mishra Bhakti. So I think if we go into some of the things I read, I don't remember right now, but some of the things I read in the prayers were talking more about at the Jnana platform. Talking more about, oh, you are the Supreme Lord, you created everything. And
well, let me ask you, is it possible for a bhakta that's not a Jnana Mishra Bhakta to say the same things, understand the same things, express the same things about creation and details and those kinds of things. Is it possible? And if it's possible, then where's the demarcation? What's the over here is and over there is? It's not just the subject matter, in other words.
Yeah, I was thinking that Nagapatnis are starting Jnana on the Jnana platform. It's okay, but they would end with something with bhakti. Then it's still okay. But because they did not end with, I think Kalia, on the other hand, did end with something at a higher level than even the Nagapatnis. But then the Nagapatnis themselves were more still, till the end, was more about saving the husband, and the prayers were more jnana related. So that was my.
That's karma related,
Yeah.
not jnana related. Is this an important discussion? We should just pass. We'll just move on. An essence of bhakti is service. Praising the Supreme Lord is a service. There are numerous passages in the Bhagavatam that are doing exactly that, praising the Supreme Lord in very elegant and elevated language and understandings of what one who has shelter in the material platform of Gyan aren't going to recognize about the source of everything. So I just end this, I'll end this little preamble of the final class by saying I'm not sure they're on that platform, I'm not sure they're not on that platform. And I want to consider and discuss with some others more to see. Certainly they're karma mishra bhaktas. I wouldn't go so far as to say they said what they said as a shield to get what they want. Butter up and then say what they want. I don't think that's the platform. They're honoring him in a suitable way. So, to me, it appeared to be bhakti. Even I'll go back and read the section carefully again. A second thing is how does this relate to us? The story. And one of the question came yesterday's discussion, which wasn't the Kaliya Damana Lila, but when there's impurity, like in his case, envy, what's the means to remove impurity? When you see it staring you in the face, or you see it's like really out of line. So we heard Jiva Goswami describing yesterday that the process of bhakti is sufficient to overcome all 6 vargas, all 6 obstacles or contaminations, or the root of fruitive activity in this world, thus beyond liberation to the realm of bhakti, realm of love and devotion to the Supreme. Bhakti has that power. And there's as we go along, towards the end, we'll hear from Bhaktisiddhanta and Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Kaliya represents something, a contamination that is an obstacle on the path of sadhana bhakti, and Krishna will help one overcome that obstacle of sadhana bhakti just by hearing this pastime. And we'll hear that's conclusion spoken by Krishna at the end. In his concluding words for this pastime. But in addition, there are other scriptural references. We're going to touch on it a little bit, but it's too much to cover. So before coming over here, Prema Tarangini has some document that she's going to format in such a way that it's easy to follow. And it's references from various sources on the topic of overcoming envy. What is we to do to overcome envy? Besides have Krishna dance on our hoods. That's nice. But that may not happen. So what to do? So here's this nice prayer one more time. Whoops.
Kamam damodara mama mana pannaga pinam bhogo Kamam damodara mama mana pannaga pinam bhogo Dushtasibhi कुटिलवलनै शोभयत्येष लोकम् दुष्टासिभिः कुटिलवलनै शोभयत्येष लोकम् तद्विक्रान्तस्त्वमुदितपद द्वन्द्वपङ्केरुहाङ्कम् तद्विक्रान्तस्त्वं मुदितपद द्वन्द्वपङ्केरुहाङ्कम् कुर्वन्दर्वीकर दमनहे ताण्डवे दण्डयामुम् कुर्वन्दर्वीकरदमनहे ताण्डवे दण्डयामुम्
O Lord Krishna, with its crooked motions and sharp fangs of its wicked desires, the great snake of my mind torments the entire world. O all-powerful Lord, O crusher of Kaliya, please punish that snake with your dancing. Please place on it the mark of your lotus feet. So where we ended yesterday, day before yesterday, the last topic was Kaliya regained his strength enough to speak a few slokas, acknowledging how he had become so wicked and fit, and same as his wives, fit to be punished, but also appealing for forgiveness because of your position. You're like the Father, and the Father forgives the Son, and I did what I did out of ignorance, and I'm ignorant because I have this serpent body, and so behave ignorant because I have a serpent body, and you can do with me as you wish, punish me, show me mercy as you wish. And then comes, Krishna is going to speak. This is the departing section. He's going to order Kaliya hit the road, leave Vrindavan. There was a little discussion also about, gosh, he can't stay in Vrindavan. He got mercy, but he's being told, you have to leave. Now, listen carefully, there's some explanations why. Some of it is common sense. If he were to stay, although people may come to know, he got his head smashed and he's become purified, and who knows? He's a serpent and he could resume his poisonous behavior, and people are afraid of snakes, even if he hangs around, and he's a nice guy. So he had to leave. Krishna ordered him and he left. But most likely he's going to remember. So there's this nice teaching about residing in Vrindavan. If you can't reside in Vrindavan, then mentally reside in Vrindavan. Meditate on the holy abode of Vrindavan Dham. So and Krishna and his pastimes in Vrindavan. So Kaliya is taking that with him for sure. So now comes the first of Krishna's words, and you see in very bold, gold-colored letters, a name of Krishna, Bhagavan Karya Manushaha. Karya Manushaha. So here's the translation. He who is acting like a human being. Shukadeva Goswami said, after hearing Kaliya's words, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who was acting the role of a human being, replied, O serpent, you may not remain here any longer. Go back to the ocean immediately, accompanied by your retinue of children, wives, other relatives, and friends. Let this river be enjoyed by the cows and human beings. We're going to see that translation one more time before we move on. So our acharyas, one of the things that they do is they take terms and they look at that same term. There's going to be 6 different definitions or meanings of Karya Manusha, but it's describing Krishna. Though difficult for Brahma or Shiva to do, Krishna was able to punish Kaliya just by using a human form. He did not hold his Shankha and Chakra for this act, human-like, without the symbols of Vishnu. That's one explanation of the meaning. Here's another. Karya can also mean pastime. Thus, Karya Manushaha can mean he who takes the form of a human for performing sweet pastimes. Nice painting. So here's interesting painting. Krishna is depicted here as having 4 arms in a little baby form. That's not quite how it happened. He appeared in an adult 4-armed form and then assumed a 2-armed childlike form. Eyeball. Okay. So this is the concluding section of Kalyadamana Leela. So Krishna is speaking, and our acharyas are taking a term in what he says, or in the preamble of his speaking, to explain the Sanskrit Karya Manushaha. Karya Manushaha can mean the Lord who performs activities, Karya, among humans. That's a nice meaning. Manushaha can mean the Supreme Lord by whom everyone is made fortunate. Karya or sampada, or sampada can mean fortune or wealth. So he makes everyone fortunate. How does he make everyone fortunate? He does this by disseminating his own pure devotional service in love of Godhead. Now that's Lord Chaitanya, right? He does that. So that's the painting. Down below it's Lord Chaitanya's Sankirtan movement, but up at the top is Krishna with his flute in his hand. He spreads his prema to all people. So there's a nice painting. There we see the Kaliya serpent leaving with his wives and children, etc. And on the right, it's Nanda Maharaj with Balaram and Mother Jasoda right behind him, and he's giving prema, including to Kaliya. He has his devotees. This is meaning number 6. He has his devotees, Manushaha, worthy of respect, Arya, even by Brahma. Ka. So that's different ways of parsing Sanskrit language. There's Krishna pointing, head out of town, Kaliya. To make them happy, you should not remain here. Oh, snake, it is improper to remain here. So there's one explanation by our acharyas of why he wasn't allowed to stay. Because if he's purified, why not stay? But he wants his devotees to be peaceful and happy, because he made a big havoc, and so you should depart. Karya Manushaha instructed Kaliya, so that's the name of Krishna. Go back to the ocean immediately, along with your children, wives, and relatives. Let this river be enjoyed by the cows and humans. Same translation of the same verse. So that's the first of Krishna speaking, and he's instructing, pointing to leave. The Supreme Lord then said, so here's the benediction message. Anyone who remembers my command to you and narrates this account at sunrise and sunset will never be afraid of you. Benediction. Next, one who bathes in this lake and offers its water to the demigods, or observes a fast and worships and remembers me, is sure to become free from all sins. So one of Krishna's pastimes, and remembering Krishna's pastimes, what to speak of in Vrindavan, what to speak of at the very place where the Leela happened. They become free from sins. Commentary by Vishwanath. The glory is that by touching you with my feet, you were punished by me. This glory will remain as long as the moon and the stars exist. For the creation of the creation. From the word, quote, one who recites this pastime will not obtain reason to fear from you. it is understood that these two verses are mantras for driving out serpents. In case you need to drive out serpents. Now you know the mantras. They are similar to mantras in the Rig Veda for driving away serpents. Just see how vast our learning of our acharyas are. Who knows Rig Veda mantras for driving away serpents?
Hare Krishna, I would like to pause here. I will continue from what Kalia is saying tomorrow. So if there is any discussion, anybody wants to share some things, please do so. Sarpari Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. I like the conclusion by one of the devotees that at the end Kalia turned out to be a purer devotee than the Nagapatnis, because the Nagapatnis were still having some material desire that they wanted to retain their husband because he is forgiven. But whereas Kalia could at least come to that stage where he surrendered to the Lord completely and said that you can do as you wish. So that part I like very much. Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Chenna Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare
Prabhu,
Krishna.
I like that today different meanings as Maharaj explained as part of Karya Manushaha, who once gives fortune to others and spreads his love. Something there are various meanings as explained. And the essence of bhakti is service and praising the Lord. So that part I like very much, Prabhu. Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu, for sharing. Thank you very much. Anyone else?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, I have a question again. I know Maharaj spoke about it, that he ordered Kalia and his family to leave because the devotees were tormented because of his actions and his presence. But I mean, he was not residing on the surface. So I still am not clear that if all this poison was taken out and if he achieved certain level, what was wrong in giving him association again, because he would be really living in down, and if he is now not troubling anything, Krishna would be coming to the lake. And why Krishna chose what he chose? I mean, why he was not allowed to stay? I'm not really very clear about it, because devotees won't see him on daily basis anyway. Whom he tormented, they are not going to see him. He would be below, very down. So why it was that he was ordered to leave? It's not very clear to me.
Okay. I think Maharaj mentioned a couple of sentences before he said about that same thing. I think, like, why will be.
Maharaj spoke that devotees were tormented because of him, and Krishna didn't want devotees to suffer.
Yeah, not only that, like Maharaj said, like even if he is become a devotee now, people are still afraid of a snake because snake is generally not being trusted. So that's what I think Maharaj was mentioning before he was mentioning.
Right.
Yeah.
Correct. But then anyway, he is not on the surface. He was not seen by people even before also. It was only his poison which was coming out, but he was not seen. So that is where I'm,
Okay.
because devotees won't see him to get again tormented or feeling fearful.
Okay. Let's ask if anybody wants to add.
Hare Krishna Prabhu,
Hare
As
Krishna.
long as Kalia remains in that river pond, and he will continue to exclude poison, and the water will be poisoned. It is the nature of the snake to exude poison. When the water becomes poisonous, the cows and other who come there, they will be hurt. It is the nature of a snake, serpent, So he has to leave. Otherwise, that river thing cannot be used by anybody.
Hmm.
That's why Krishna told him to leave. He cannot stop exuding poison. That is the
Okay.
reason. It is his nature. You cannot stop his nature, no?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, does that mean, Prabhu, that in spite of getting the supreme mercy, some of the things in us is we are unable to leave, or it is impossible to leave?
No, actually, for each species has got a dharma. No, they've got a thing. No, for our dharma is we should know that we are the part and parcel of Krishna. We are the servitor of Krishna. Like that, Once we know that, then we are purified. In his case, he has to continue. His life is not coming to an end. He has to continue. So in that way, he has to go some other place to the sea where nothing will happen. That is the thing. It's not purification means immediately they will go to Vaikuntha or Goloka Vrindavana. He is not complete. He was that when he was comparing the Nagapatnis with Prahlad. So as long as he is in the family, he has to look after his Nagapatni. He will be, of course, he has become pure devotee compared to Nagapatni because of the touch of Krishna on his body. But he may have to continue. That's what I feel, because as long as he has got the material body and the functions of the material body, he has to perform. When he performs, he may exude poison in the ocean, not in the river. That is my thinking. I may be wrong. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Prabhu. But if there is any other thought also, this was I thought, but in case if there is any other thought process also, right?
Okay. Let's ask Shamkun Prabhu then.
Thank you. I have some thoughts on your question, but I also want to say something more. Just a minute, madam. So, number one, in the beginning of the class, Maharaj said Nagapatnis were elevated devotees, but not necessarily pure devotees. And this is coming from Maharaj, who has been practicing Krishna consciousness, you can say at least that way, in this lifetime for 50 years. Actually, a little more than 50 years, 54 or 55 years, like that now. If any of us were to be in that kind of a position, the first thing that we would say is, in 50 years, we should have read Srimad Bhagavatam at least some 5 to 6 times. One should have had answers to these kind of questions by that time. How come a person does not even know something basic as this? What has one done in his life that for 50, 55 years, one doesn't know whether the Nagapatnis are pure devotees or they're just practicing devotees, elevated devotees, all these things, right? And sometimes we feel, we also say, oh, you have been practicing for so long. It's not about Nagapatnis, but something in general. You've been practicing for so long. Don't you know these basic things? These questions do come to us. There's a fundamental principle, nahi sarvam janati. When we are confronted with this fact in life, nahi sarvam janati, the important thing is not about, hey, I didn't know I'm so bad, or why is the other person pointing out this thing in me? But the important aspect is that deep in our heart, we have to feel, thank God I got to know about it now. Thank God somebody is thinking, hey, I didn't even know this. So rather than a sense of shame or ridicule being the predominating feeling. It has to be a sense of reconnecting to our finiteness and a thankfulness that, yeah, at least I got to know now. That's one point. Second, Maharaj brought about a very fundamental point that whereas Prahlad said, I don't want anything for myself, the Nagapatnis had a specific desire about themselves. It's not about Krishna. And the key word is not about Krishna. We all, or I think all of us in this call, we have been together at least for, I think, 5 years or so now, 4 or 5 years now. And we know there are primary relationships which one can have with the Supreme Lord. It can be a servant, it can be a friend, it can be a parent, a lover, etc. In this world also, we have these very same kind of relationships. And the difference, like these primary relationships are called sthai bhav. Sthai means something which stays. That's the primary emotion and or a relationship which stays. On top of it, we'll get many secondary things also. Like say, for example, a person may be a mother to a child, but the mother can also be joking with the child. So the jokes happen once in a while, or the mother can also be angry with the child. It's not always about affection for the child. A mother can be aghast at what a child has done. Many secondary emotions can come into picture. All that is there. But for these primary emotions to come, the first and foremost thing in devotional life is that it should be about Krishna. When it is not about Krishna, it is no longer a primary relationship. And in a very subtle, succinct way, Maharaj pointed out that uh, in the case of the Nagapatnis, it was not always about Krishna, it was something about themselves. And this is where many practicing devotees struggle. The struggle is I recognize I have my needs. I also recognize I have to do something about Krishna. And one kind of people, the way they struggle is let me let go of my needs and I'm just going to focus on Krishna. So they become voluntarily blind to their own needs. Um, and the second kind of the persons are they say that let me first satisfy my needs and I'm going to continue devotional service. And as my needs get satisfied, hopefully I will come to a stage where gradually this will no longer be my need. Some people do say that. There are pros and cons of both, and I'd like each of you to go through the scriptures and let me know in the chat if, are either of these two right or we should have something in between. This should be something else. That is, on one side, I'm going to satisfy my needs. And the other side, it's going to be, I'm going to be oblivious to my needs. I recognize it, but I am going to thwart it by whatever possible means. Uh, and and is there an in-between way? And if so, what is that in-between way? That's a question I have. Maybe in the chat later during the day, if you all can give that. Next, the some of the meanings for Karya Manusha. The Acharya's commentary, which Maharaj said was, he mentioned at least 3 or 4 of them was that number one, he Krishna takes a human form for performing sweet pastimes. Number two, by whom everyone is made fortunate. Number three, he who makes a devotee worthy of respect. And in this is the answer to Shweta Mataji's question too. Krishna likes to make everybody fortunate. And especially those who come to him, he likes them to be made worthy of respect. And that is why we call devotees as Prabhus, knowing that since the name of Krishna is dancing on the tongue of these devotees, they're already worthy of respect. For Kaliya, Krishna's feet were placed on his hoods. For all of us, Krishna's holy name, and his entire existence in that sense, is dancing on our tongue. And therefore, we all may be minute degree, great degree, Kaliya, etc. But yet Krishna is dancing on our tongue. And what we should only ensure is that we should ensure that we never stop chanting. Because that chanting is the one which removes all the poisonous things in our chitta or consciousness. And not just in our own lives, it becomes imperative that since Krishna wants everyone to be made fortunate, we have to be instrumental for everybody to receive the holy name of Krishna. And we when everybody is made receives the holy name of Krishna, when they chant, and if we offer them worthy enough respect, if you offer them respect, it also indicates that we are aligning ourselves with Krishna. It's not the focus that it's all on me, but it is just seeing Krishna's Leela manifesting. In other words, at that stage, we no longer say that I was instrumental in making him a devotee. I made him a devotee, or because of me, this person is chanting. A true devotee just see how wonderful Krishna is. He started chanting, or how wonderful this person is that he likes to chant. He likes the holy name, or he likes to recite these verses, something like that. So that's one part of my appreciation for the Karya Manusha. And coming the connection to Shweta Mataji's question, when one is purified, just like Krishna, like we are all chanting, and Krishna is dancing on our tongue, and the same thing is happening even with the Kaliya. Krishna personally danced on with his feet. He danced there, and yet, do we think that we are completely pure? Uh, are all our motivations completely purified? No, it's not at this stage right now. It will take time. And why does it take time? It takes time because we are attached to what we think is right. We are attached to our habits. We are also attached to our desires. So, our desires, our habits, and what we think is right, our conceptions, all of these limit the fullness of what we can receive from Krishna or Krishna's devotees. And therefore, recognizing it, Krishna says that it takes time for a person to become pure. In other words, Kalia has realized for now the futility of his enviousness. That is fine. But to be in Braja, when Krishna is conducting his pastimes, and when various devotees would come to the lakes, etc., one needs a very elevated sense of consciousness. In other words, I, I may be, or anybody may be defeated by Krishna's plans. And then we realize how tiny we are. But being made, but having an understanding or somebody through dint of circumstances making us realize how small we are, how tiny or how inconsequential we are is insufficient to enter the pastimes of Raja. One should have an attraction for Krishna. And that attraction to Krishna has to go to a very deep level that one can even be a witness to the pastimes of Krishna. In some places, Srila Prabhupada has said that all of one's anarthas, it should come to at least 75% off. That is, 75% of our anarthas should go away so that one comes to the stage of Bhava Bhakti. Maybe in a few conversations, he said 40, 50%, maybe 50%, maybe 75%. Uh, what happens is when circumstances like what happens in Kaliya's Leela happen, one just realizes, hey, I have these anarthas, I'm ready to let go. That is still like 5%, 10% off. It's not that 50% or 70%. That 50% or 70% to happen, one should have an attraction to Krishna's personality, which requires further cultivation, probably in the case of Kaliya with his wives, etc. So, taking more than why Kaliya uh, was not allowed to stay, I'm just tempted to take Mataji that in our own lives, we are not given immediately the highest sense of being in Krishna's pastimes or the highest services, because we all need to cultivate a deeper sense of, number one, attachment to Krishna, and consequentially attachment to Krishna's devotees. Number two, the mood of service. And until that happens, it's very tough to enter into Braja. That's it, Mataji. Is that helpful at all?
Yes, Prabhu, thank you. At least for me, it is clear that he was not actually worthy of living over there. Thank you, Prabhu.
Okay. Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you. So it's about 7:20. So we'll conclude today's session here. We'll continue from tomorrow from the lecture. Thank you, everyone. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.